All right, CMIS105 students, this video is intended to introduce you to the Runestone Academy e-text content and the tool that we will be using quite extensively throughout your experience in the course. So I'm going to try something I haven't done before, and if I continue to do this, this will be the same case moving forward. So I'm making this video for the spring of 24, but it may stick for a few semesters, if not a few years. But what I'm going to try to do is upload your username and password information into the course, so you will already be enrolled in this course. You won't have to worry about enrolling in the course. So your convention to log in is going to be your last name followed by your first initial, then an underscore 105 underscore the semester you have the class and the year. So for example, if your name is John Smith, then your username access would be supposed to be an M. Boy, that's really laggy. Smith J, sorry, that's really sloppy, underscore 105 underscore SP for spring, sorry, 24. So if that's the semester you're taking the class and your name is John Smith, that would be your username. And just for clarification, SP, this will be uppercase. So your username will be your last initial as uppercase and then your name. Boy, that's really laggy. I'm sorry about that. So if your name is Smith, it's a capital S, lowercase MITH, it's supposed to be an H. And then your first initial is a capital letter, and then an underscore 105, that's the course we're taking, 105, underscore capital S, capital P, and then 24. That's for the spring of 24. Obviously, if it was the fall 24, it'd probably be FALL 24. If it was the summer 24, just depends on the semester. And I'll have those directions in Blackboard as well. So you want to make sure that when you log in that you're always logged in. You want to make sure you look up here. If you do not see this, then you are not logged in. It's not going to track your progress unless you're logged in. So every time you log in, make sure you see your course, semester, whatever it is. Make sure you see that in the upper left corner, because if you do not see that, then you are not logged in. So make sure you look for that. So you're also going to see a number of tools. So I believe it will take you to this. If it does not, it might take you to, let's see if I can make it do that. It might bring you to something like this. So in this case, you want to click on the e-text. This is basically giving you a list of all the assignments. I'm going to come back to this later. But this is your e-text. It's an interactive textbook. So when you go to that, you will see your table contents. Now, we are not going to cover all of this content. We're going to cover primarily the content in chapters or units, however you want to call it, 1 through 9. So we're actually not going to do 8 for lack of time. We're going to skip 8, but a lot of cool stuff in 8. But we're going to do 1 through 7 and then 9. Now, 5, we're not going to cover all of 5. We're going to do like through 5, 1, 6. So we're going to do a chunk of 5, all of 1 through 4, 6, 7, and 9. So some of the tools that you might want to start to take a look at when you get into this is going to the head icon. Oh, I should back up a second. I totally forgot. Your password is going to be your, I am really sorry this lags so bad. Not really sure why it's doing that. So your password is going to be your student ID number when you log in. So your username was that convention I mentioned before, and your password will be your student ID number. You can change your password if you want. So I'm logged in as a fictitious student here. I'm going to go to the head icon. I call this the head icon. So this thing up here I refer to as the head icon. So I'm going to go to that, and you can see that you can edit your profile and change your password. So if you want to change your password, absolutely go for it. Unfortunately, you can't change your username. At least I don't think you can. Even if you can, I'm going to ask you not to, because that's the way I know who you are. because I'm going to use your last name first initial. So what you probably want to look at mostly in here is assignments. Now, before we get into assignments, I just want to explain that the assignments are built around content. So I strongly suggest, I cannot suggest this enough, that you go through the content. It's basically an electronic textbook. You're going to see that this aligns a lot with what you see in Python for Everybody. That's because this content is pulled from Chuck Severance's content. It was built along in conjunction with him to do this. But you also see that there's multiple choice questions that pop up occasionally, and as you go through it, you'll see eventually there's also true false. I'm trying to get some more interesting stuff. You'll see some drag and drop questions. You'll see some fill in the blank. These are all really good stuff to do. And another reason why you'll probably want to do this is because they will directly pull into or filter into your assignments. So like, for example, if I go to assignments and go to unit 1, which unit 1 really doesn't have a lot of true content in it, you'll see this question: what does a programmer add to a computer's hardware? And you'll see this pulls out of activity 1.1.2, multiple choice, and you can go to question and context. So basically that's going to say, well, in the textbook, where is this question? Well, it's right here. So if you go through the content here, it should is the operative word, it should also recognize that you completed it here. I'm doing this as a fictitious student, and that's exactly how this worked for me. Another reason why I think it's beneficial to you to go through the content is because if you go straight to the assignments and try to go through the work, you're going to be missing content that might help you explain the question, might explain that question to you better. So it's much more beneficial if you go through the content. This is really a textbook in electronic form, and it's totally free. So that's what I'm asking you to do. So unit 1, a lot of lighter stuff on the background of how a computer works. Good stuff, but not really true programming, but it's giving you a good background as to why we program and some benefits of that. You will eventually start to see little interactive code blocks like this. These are really cool because this is really like a little mini programming tool built into the textbook. So you'll notice that often you will see that you can click save and run. You can also adjust the slider bar. Now, I haven't run this yet, but if you make changes to it and run it, you can always see your changes over time. And the show code lens is really good, useful stuff, and I'll show you how all that works. So if you click save and run, what should happen is it should give you like a little mini output underneath here. And this is just printing hello world, pretty straightforward stuff. I mean, even if I would change this or something and go to run it, it's going to give me an error and explain to me what the heck, trying to give me an idea of what I'm doing wrong. This is a syntax error. And I can see that I now had an original, and then here's my second run. It even tells me the date and time, and I can see what I did wrong. So I'm going to change this back to print, run it again. Now I've got a third time, and I can change that slider bar to see the different changes that I had over time. So now this code lens is pretty cool. It's not really all that useful for a print statement, but it's going to be useful down the road. So what code lens is doing is it is walking through one line at a time as to what's happening in the code. Now this is just one line of code, so not a lot going on. But when you do have more lines of code, you'll see this red arrow is basically telling you the next line is going to execute, and the green line is the line that just executed. So when I click next, it's going to generate this output. This is my output. But when you get into actually storing variables and using functions and things like that nature, the code lens tool is very, very helpful to give you an idea of what is happening one line at a time and what the computer is really doing as it interprets your code and reads through that. So code lens is also very helpful. So again, you want to go through the content here. Look, you can even see they pulled directly from Chuck Severance's content. So go through these inside the e-text, in the context, in the chapters and units, go through those. That's going to be, to me, way more helpful to you. So one more tool that I want to show you that I think is very, very useful is this active script. So if you click on this pencil tool, this puppy right here, right up here. Now I already have some code that I left in here, but this will stick with you as you go through, and you can rewrite it and overwrite it. But this is really a quick way to kind of like write your own mini program to do something. Actually, I forgot. I don't have anything in here. So if I wanted to do, I'm just going to do some simple stuff. This may not make any sense to you, and that's okay, but I'm going to build a simple Python program that actually will add 2 numbers. And I'm going to show you how that would work. I don't know why it's giving me these extra spaces here. But I'm going to go ahead and do the simple print of x plus y. And I want to print out what that does. So I can click save and run, and it gives me the output. This is like a really, really quick, easy way to test out some code. So for your coding assignments, you theoretically could use this itself, and I'll make another video explaining how you could do that. You can also show in CodeLens and see what happens as you step through this, but this is like a quick, easy way to access a built-in IDE, a little programming tool to do some test programming. It's not the only way for you to do your programming, but it's a quick, easy way to do some simple programming. So that will give you enough to get started. As you go through assignments, what you want to do is, again, my suggestion is to go through the content and do them. And then just to make sure, because I don't use every single thing in the content, otherwise the assignments would be ridiculously long. I mean, there are some of them are already pretty daggone long, but they would get just unmanageably long. But what you want to do is go back to assignments and make sure you did everything. Make sure it actually, no, I haven't done all these, but you can see that a lot of these questions I have done. I haven't done all of them, but because I'm in here as a fake student, like I didn't answer this question. But you want to make sure that you did indeed answer all the questions. And then when you get to the bottom, you want to click this button that says, you want to click finish, compute score for assignment. It's probably not going to auto score because some of the stuff I have to manually score. But you want to do that. And then also, I know it's kind of a pain, but just for good measure, if you go back to here and make sure that this is marked finished. If it's not, just go ahead and pull that drag down and make sure you change it to finish, which I'm not done yet. But you would want to do that for each of these assignments. So if at any point you have questions on this, you're not sure how to do it, let me know. You can even see the due dates. Now this is for the first 7 week of spring of 24. These dates will change depending on when you're taking the class, but this should give you a good overview of how to use the Runestone Academy tool. Anytime you have questions, please let me know.